Sharon NM Chuku, and joining me live in the studio I have with me my co-host Ifoma Oji and our guest Mr. Daniel Sacramento. Good morning. How are you all doing today?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Sacramento. All right, we're going straight to the stories for today. A strong statement from the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi. He says President Bola Tinubu's inclusive governance has made Biafra agitations unnecessary. According to him, the Southeast is now better represented and more integrated into national governance than ever before. But many Nigerians are asking, does inclusion at the top truly address the deep-rooted political, economic, and security concerns driving separatist agitations? And finally, a second controversy. The African Democratic Congress, ADC, is demanding full disclosure of the tax agreement between Nigeria's Federal Inland Revenue Service and France. The party says Nigerians deserve to know the terms, the benefits, and whether the agreement protects national interest. Now, these are the headlines, and I would like us to start with the bold statement coming from the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, coming out to say with President Bola Tinubu in the picture as president and the inclusive governance of President Tinubu, that there is no need for Igbo to agitate for a separatist movement. But my first question really, Ifoma, is do you think the present administration really wants an inclusive governance?
Okay, I don't really think so. Let's look at the Southeast as a case study. Having governors does not mean inclusivity. You need governors because you need a head of state or somebody that will be at the helm of affairs in every state. So it doesn't, for me, scream inclusivity. Now, I'm talking about IPOB and talking about marginalization. I believe that is what IPOB stands for. And why have people been agitating for a separatist nation? Is because of the fact that they feel marginalized, they feel sidelined. And this has been happening, for years. If you check government now, you check government appointments, how many Southeast citizens are involved in governance, in political positions this present time? You can count in a little of them. If you talk about defense minister, he's not from the Southeast. If you talk about the minister of works, where is he from? Is he from the Southeast?
It's Dave Umahi.
Okay, Dave Umahi. But what I'm trying to say here is that little individual from the Southeast is holding key positions. You talk about the presidency, he's not from the Southeast. You talk about the vice president, he's not from the Southeast. So I think it's clear, the evidence is clear enough for people to see that what he's saying right now is just to make headlines and not truly what it represents.
Oh, okay, well said, Ifoma. Now to you, Mr. Daniel Sacramento, we've heard what Dave Umahi said. My question still remains, how inclusive is the Bola Tinubu-led administration?
Okay, well, in as much as we are Liverpoolists, we always ask for more. Not they've done too well. The administration of Bola Tinubu has done too well, but in a way, they've given us a little sense of belonging, but not to the level of our expectations. Ifoma really cited out, there are still a lot that will make us, be more. And more of the thing we should be looking out for is basic infrastructures coming from the federal government, giving us good roads. So many of our roads are death traps. So many are death traps. You look at the Enugu-Benue night mile, that's Enugu State. I know there's work ongoing there. You look at the Anambra Onitsha Enugu Expressway, work is going on there, and some other roads as well. Well, it is good for us to have the federal government's presence in human capital and in capital developments. Those are the things that really raises our agitations. Talking about Biafra and the IPOB, it's all about being inclusive. They don't treat us as animals. They don't treat us, because you can't write the IGRO of Nigeria without the Biafra people. It is not done anywhere. In fact, if 75% or 85% of Nigerian economy is driven by Biafrans, because when you go to Port Harcourt, you go to Lagos State, you go to Abuja, these are the places where you see you look at the IGR, you know that this IGR is basically coming from the Biafrans. If you go to Kanu, you go to Sokoto, you go to Kaduna, the Biafrans are the ones who do a massive level of businesses. The companies you have there is the Biafrans. We're the ones that are doing all these things. So definitely we need that equal right and justice. You know, everybody is crying out for peace. You can't have peace when there is no equal right and justice. So in as much as the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given us the Minister of Works, has given us Minister of Interior, State, given us the Chief of Naval Staff, that's 3. These are the 3 key level of positions that we've had now. Yet it is, we will applaud him for doing this, because it has not been that favorable to us when we talk about the Ministry works. But now we have it, and we could see some of the things that are ongoing. Enugu Onitsha Expressway is being done now in a very high space yet.
Okay, so let me come in here now. Let's also talk about the gentleman agreement, right, that exists in Nigeria and in the way they compete for the #1 seat in Nigeria, which is the presidency. We understand that there is an unwritten gentleman agreement that it should go across all regions, the north and the south. But let's talk about how often we've seen representation from the southeast. Now, not in positions now, but on the #1 seat in Nigeria.
You know, it's quite unfortunate, and it goes ahead to prove what I said earlier, that over the years, decades now, more than that, Igbo people or the Southeast have been clamoring for inclusivity in governance. Check now Nigeria's trajectory. Check from the 1990s, how many Igbo people succeeds as the president of Nigeria. Check, you can only count, but a few. You understand? But over these years, you've seen the likes of Yoruba people. You've seen name them. They are all occupying important positions. It's the same thing that we are talking about. You understand? Now, coming to what you said, I think I've kind of addressed that to a very large extent. Is the same thing that the Igbos are saying. If you can't include us in governance, then let us go. It's as simple, as that.
Mr. Daniel, the same question, because you mentioned the fact that the Tinubu-led administration has done maybe not as much as you would have expected, but to a large extent have been able to include Igbos when it concerns key positions here. And I'm asking about the gentleman agreement, whereby there is rotation of power for the presidency. What's your take on the fact that from what Ifeoma is saying, we've not seen the Southeast represented on that level? Okay,
the truth about it is that if anybody is telling you there's a gentleman agreement somewhere, then that person is not saying the truth. They call it an election. It is not selection. So we must understand that fact.
Okay, so are you saying that there is no existing agreement?
I don't think any that I know of. The issue is this. In as much as President Olusegun Obasanjo believes in rotational presidency, which is still in existence now. The Northern just finished.
Hold
on. I didn't say there is none. I want you to understand. It is an election.
Of course.
So definitely every other regions that have that's fundamental human right.
Of course.
The person, anybody who wants to contest,
they are free to.
That's the angle I'm coming from. Now, in as much as PDP tried to do a rotational thing, if we go, If the northern go, these other people go, these other people go. Now, I want you to also understand that, yes, it has been in existence. President Buhari just left. And now it came to the Southerners. You know, it's not left for the Southerners to decide, do we want the Igbos? How strong, how formidable are our people? So that they can clinch the ticket, which we didn't see, because majority of our people are not in the ruling party, which is the APC. Do you understand? Now they are saying that nobody will just take it like this and give to you. It's not done. There must be a level of understanding. There must be a level of compromise. Then I say these people have to go. I remember Chief Adebayo, Chief Ayo Adebayo of Afenifere. He was clamoring. He said, "I want the Igbos." It is injustice that ever since this presidency has been rotating between the Hausas and the Yorubas. Now the question is this: how formidable are we? There are a lot of things that we need to put together in our house so that we can get to that promised land. Because the way we are going about things is not favoring us, and we are being used as baits. So at times we need to come home. Every chicken goes home to roost. We need to come back home. We need to come to the drawing board and find a very formidable strategy as the Biafrans. It is not always the agitation of let's go, let's go. It's not something that will just work overnight. It's not something you just say, who is going to deliberate that? The referendum, who is going to give it to you? Because you must first of all understand the terrain. You must first of all understand where you are coming from. Then you now know where you are going to. So definitely what they needed to do is, we need a formidable strategy as the Igbo.
All right.
They will now know how to enter into a level of agreement, anyway, so that our vision and whatever we are clamoring for will become a reality. All right. And that's how it flies.
Okay, and now coming to you, Ifoma, now based off of what Mr. Daniel Sacramento has said, do you think that the strategy that he talks of is part of what we're seeing now, where we're seeing even southeastern governors defecting to the APC? Could this be a part of the strategy to now be more involved when it concerns the politics in Nigeria and just getting closer to the federal power?
You know, it's kind of the same thing. I think I support what Mr. Sacramento said, because when people are sidelined, the only thing they do is to move closer to the federal power, and which is what every government or the southeastern governors have done, you know, over the months now, some months now. And I feel it's really sad that politics right now have to be about personal interest and not even political ideology as what is supposed to be the earlier days. It's quite sad. And then moving forward, I think that to a very large extent the solution here is probably the government, the present administration, coming to, you know, a round table with the people, the governors in the southeast, and addressing the root cause of this problem. Because you can't just out of the blues appoint people like Mr. Sacramento to say 3 people in key positions in Nigeria, and you think that you've already solved the problem of marginalization. This is something that has, you know, gone on for a very long time. So it's not something that you just, you know, select 1 or 2 people and say, because I've placed you in this particular position, I've solved your problem. No, it takes a lot of time. There are wounds that you've created, so it takes time to heal, and it takes effort to heal those wounds.
All right, now we are talking about political positions now, Mr. Daniel, and the fact that we are seeing more key positions being handed over to the people from the southeast. But there are also some things that has triggered this agitation, one of which is the loss of lives of Igbos, right? We remember the Asaba massacre. We remember what happened even with the Civil War and how lives were lost and all of that. So if I'm to ask now, the question would really be, do you think just giving key positions to people from the southeast would address past hurts?
Well, that's what I said this ab initio. I said it is not all about position. It's about the federal government presence in the southeastern region. And one other thing we must also appreciate this present government for is approving and making sure that the Igbos have the Southeast Development Commission, which has been on for a long time, but the past administration didn't give attention to it. But thank God today we'll have it, and we are waiting to begin to see some of the activities on how, because that alone will be able to address a lot of questions. If the Southeast Development Commission begins to work, it is definitely going to see a lot of things being addressed. Some part of the Southeast have no railway system, which is one of the things that we have been known for. And remember when the coal city, when you hear the coal city, Enugu State is the state where these coals are being, Yes. So definitely, most of the time, like I said here, I said, it's not basically positions. In as much as, yes, we want positions. It's about giving us those basic things that we see in Abuja. Those things we see in Kanu, those river and all those things. Even in Lagos, the custom high rate of importations of things concerning when it has to do with clearing Igbo man's containers. The level of, we need those level of things in the security agencies. We need to be there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the equal right and justice we're talking about.
Exactly.
So we need to be there. And when you go to security now, they will say, yes, they are giving you people naval staff. Yes, we appreciate that. So other key positions, we need to be there. I remember during Obasanjo's time, we were over everywhere. We were there. The problem again is our people, how they bring back things to develop their own region is also paramount. So we must look at those things.
Okay.
Not every now and then they just come to do empowerment. Those things that they bring, those things, you people should go lobby for it, bring it back home to develop the Southeast.
Okay.
That's how it works. Because that definitely, there must be sentiment politically. There is political sentiment there. So you went and also who are representing us in the name there that are representing us in the name there that are representing us
even just going back to the start of it against the Southeast, because if we remember Nnamdi Azikiwe, who was the ceremonial president, he
think the idea of being an Igbo was where everything started. And it seems there is this particular trait with Igbo people, which is they have this trait of never giving up, you understand, and fighting no matter what it takes. I think that this is where it started from, and the fact that wherever they step their foot in, they always succeed. They go to Lagos, they succeed. They go to anywhere, they succeed. And I think that is that's where the genesis of this whole problem started from, because of the fact that they are ready to succeed and they want you to include them in governance. Because of that, you wouldn't want to include them, because maybe when you include them, because of that kind of trait of theirs, they might actually siphon everything or be in place of cover everything up. So that is basically for themselves. That is basically the reason. But I don't think maybe Igbos are willing, or they would do that. If truly you would have included them a long time ago. I believe that, this one Nigeria that we keep chanting all the time, that it would have been possible if they were included all this while. Now, there's something that you mentioned that I found really intriguing, the fact that you said they succeed in what they do, and that fear of them just having everything to themselves. We realize that we've seen this play in other nations. We've seen this happen in Ghana. We've seen this happen in South Africa, where there is just this fear of overtaking, of the Igbos overtaking, of the Nigerians there, not even just the Igbos, but majorly, we know in South Africa, it's majorly the Igbos overtaking. But there is something very key as well I want to bring to the table, as what we heard from the United States when they were debating about the genocide against Christians. There's something a senator there said, a female senator, she said that out of all their immigrants, that the best
one of the most successful nations on their list of immigrants are Nigerians. So I just wanted to tie this as we move over to the next story. Now, the next story is something that is really, really important to discuss. I don't know if you were here, Mr. Dada, where we started the conversation. I think you were. It was an Active Citizens Parliament where we're discussing Nigeria disclosing its tax agreement, just exposing the data for Nigerians, our economic data to France, so that they can better monitor and use their technology to help ensure that Nigerians do not evade tax. Now, ADC, the African Democratic Congress, has come out to demand a full disclosure of that tax agreement. What's your take on that?
Well, I should toe the line of the ADC demanding a full disclosure of FIRS France tax agreement. Yes, definitely they should the agreement should be made open. Nigerians must know what France stands to benefit and what Nigerians stand to benefit, because you don't treat somebody in isolation.
Yes.
Good. So definitely there should be a level of transparency. We must understand what these people, you don't just bring in a country into what we are doing, into our system. And they must look out for the ADC is saying, you must be very, very sure of your security, because you are dealing with an advanced country. You must be very, very sure. And I wonder, I didn't know how this relationship all of a sudden between the France and Nigeria started. You know, this love relationship. We have people we have been dealing with. So bringing in, and now it becomes that it remains Germany. Once Germans comes into on board, it becomes that Nigeria is now playing love affairs with all the world powers. We have the British, we have the Americans, we have the Chinese here already, and now France is now stepping in. So definitely Nigerians must be on the know to know the nitty-gritty of what and how these things wants to work. That's one of the things that should be made public, because you're talking about a Nigerian citizen's tax. That's what you're talking about. It is not a private thing. So definitely it should be made public. We must understand what they want to do, how this marriage wants to function. So if we don't get the first-hand information, then something must be fishy. And how are they going to be making their money? In what terms? Because this
what is the benefit?
That's what I'm saying. How do they stand to make their money? Because I don't know. I don't believe they are coming here to do this for free. There's no marriage that there won't be a give and take. It's going to be a transactional thing. So definitely these things must be made transparent, open, and there should be a level of debate.
Exactly.
You know, because if it's in a country where things works well, where there is no corruption, we shouldn't be at this point. There should be a level of a committee that must see to this and make it public. The House must be involved. The House of Representatives and the Senate must be involved, and some other agencies and civil rights societies must be involved. So it should not be an open debate. Let's hear from France people. Let's see the truth inside it and see the lies as well.
Exactly.
That is inside the whole affairs of
and the agreement.
And the agreement. Then, if it is something that needs we should do, we go ahead. If it's not, then there should be we should say no.
You know,
I say no, let's do this.
This also brings the question about how they even went about signing this contract. That's the Nigerian government, without carrying Nigerians along in the first place. It's taking the ABC and opposition party coming out now to call the Nigerian government out on that agreement and how they went about it without carrying Nigerians along. So let's talk about that for a bit. The fact that, you know, Nigerians are seeking transparency, and most of these policies that the Nigerian government they're making is without Nigeria's, you know, knowledge.
Okay. First of all, I think I would like to give it to ADC for raising such important issue. I remember when we were talking about this whole one party system, I was like, it is quite scary that we'll not have a system of government whereby everything will have to be rubber stamped from head to toe. So this is what an opposition party should stand for in the first place. And then moving forward to the question he asked, when government agencies sign agreement with foreign government, it implies that the citizens should at least know what the terms implies. Yes, for the term of that particular agreement implies, and without clarity, it risks fear of misinformation filling the gap at the end of the day. And there is nothing, or should I say transparency here cannot really be overemphasized. Nigeria's data is more like oil for me. It's something that is very sensitive and important. So you can't just open up something as important as that to foreign government. We need to know, Nigerians need to know, just like what Mr. Sacramento said, you can't have a marriage without it being transactional. So we need to know what exactly are we signing. You understand? What are the terms? What are the conditions that we are signing? If there is nothing like transparency and accountability, it breeds, mistrust in governance. And this is the same thing that we keep on talking about every single time. You can't be bringing up policies without carrying Nigerians along. Nigerians should be included.
Exactly. And I think you just wrapped it up with that contribution, the fact that Nigerians deserve transparency and to be carried along as they move forward, especially as it affects Nigerians, their taxes and their hard-earned money. But for now, this is where we're wrapping it up on the conversation. Thank you, Ifomaoji, for joining me today, and Mr. Daniel Sacramento for doing this with me as always. And to our viewers, this is Morning Pulse on Active Citizens, where we discuss Nigerian politics. If you're yet to subscribe, this is the best time to do so. And remember to follow us across all social media at Active Citizens. You can find me as well on my personal pages on social media at Sharon Enemchuku. And Jiri Foma.
You can find me on Facebook at Oji Sophia and on Instagram at Miss Alex.
For Mr. Daniel, he's always in the studio. Till we see you later today, do have a good morning.